Hi everybody, this is Jen from Cookies, Cupcakes, and Cardio.com. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make gourmet caramel apples. I've got 3 different varieties to show you how to do. We're going to be doing a peanut butter chocolate one, Smarties, and an Oreo caramel apple. They're absolutely decadent. Let's get started. We're going to start with what we need for the caramel portion of the apples, and we're going to need 1 teaspoon of molasses, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract, half a cup of butter, 2 cups of brown sugar, 1/3 a cup of pure maple syrup, 2/3 of a cup of dark corn syrup. We're going to need a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then you're going to need medium-sized apples, and this will be enough caramel for about 12 of them, and then we're going to be using these apple sticks. I have my sweetened condensed milk in a pot here, and I have my temperature on my element to medium-low. Now I'm going to add all the ingredients except the apples that I was showing you in the previous shot. And I'm going to make sure that they all get in here. And then I'm going to let this come up to just kind of like a medium temperature where the sugar starts to dissolve. And what that's going to do is just to make sure that there aren't any granules to start. And then we're going to heat it up even hotter. And when we're up to that medium temperature, I will be back to show you what we're going to do next. So once the sugar has dissolved, you can put in a candy thermometer like I have, and what we're going to be waiting for is 230 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's going to be the soft ball stage. So we're going to heat it to that temperature, and I'm going to be stirring it constantly, and I'm using a silicone spatula here to make sure the heat doesn't affect it. And once I get up to temperature, I'll be back to show you the next step. So the sugar has dissolved and I've put in my candy thermometer. What we're waiting for is the temperature to get up to 230 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to turn up my temperature in order to do that a little bit faster. You want to make sure that you're stirring it constantly so it's not getting any chance to burn. So once I reach temperature, I'll be back to show you what to do next. So my caramel is nice and hot and it's coming up to temperature. So it's at 230, and I'm going to take this off now, and I'm going to put it into a large Tupperware or a large glass piece here. And I'm just turning my temperature off. And now I'm going to pour my caramel into this container. And I'm going to let the caramel sit until my temperature drops down to 200. So while you're waiting for the caramel to cool, you can prep your apples. Now you want to make sure that any wax has been removed and that they are washed and dried. And then I'm going to take my apple stick and I'm just going to poke it into the center where the stem was, and I've removed the stem. And then just put it in there like that. And so you can lift it in and out of the caramel and the chocolate. Once the caramel has cooled down, you can start dipping your apples. So I'm just taking my apple and I'm just putting it right into the caramel, and I'm just going to rock it back and forth to cover up most of the apple. You can leave some exposed, you can cover the whole thing if you want to, and then just pull it out and let any of the excess come off. Now the reason you want to let it cool a little bit, because if the caramel is too hot, it will just drip right off of the apple and you won't end up with any on your apple. And also while you're dipping your apples, it will cool down quite a bit. So you can also reheat it. You could use the microwave or you could put it back in your pan. So I'm just going to continue dipping, and I just put them onto a parchment lined piece of paper here on a baking tray. And I'm just going to dip my apples, and then I'm going to let them cool in the fridge. Now this is perfect part for if you just want caramel apples, but I'm going to take it to the next level and we're going to do some gourmet ones. So if you want to stay tuned for the gourmet part, that's up next. So for our first gourmet apple, we're going to be using melted chocolate, and we're going to be making a peanut butter chocolate apple. So for that, we're going to use Reese's Pieces, and we're going to use cut in half mini peanut butter cups, and we're going to use some peanuts. So let's get started on this one. So what I'm going to take is my apple with the caramel already on it, and I'm going to just dip it directly into the chocolate like I did with the caramel, and just kind of rock it back and forth. Now this one you want to let the chocolate come off of it, because if you leave too much chocolate on and it's still dripping off, you'll find that all of your toppings are going to slide right off. So you just want to kind of work it for a little bit here. There's not much left to come off here. You might find that you end up with a little foot at the bottom of your apple, but that's fine. Part of the fun to eat it. So just put it back on your parchment, and then around your apple, just apply your little toppings for the peanut butters. So this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to cover the entire thing in these delightful treats. Our second gourmet apple is going to be an Oreo one. So I have regular Oreos cut into quarters, sorry. I also have golden Oreos that are quartered. And then I found this really cool chocolate, which is called Oreo Crunch chocolate. So it has bits of cookie and bits of the Oreo filling into it. So it's darned good. So what I'm going to do is take my caramel apple off my parchment paper, dip it straight into my chocolate again. Just kind of rocking it back and forth, letting the chocolate come off. So exact same strategy as before with the peanut butter one, letting most of it come off here. And then I'm going to press our Oreo chunks onto the apple. So I want to work quickly in order to ensure that all of these pieces are able to stick. And oopsies, see, I'm going to turn him around there. There we go. And make sure that I cover all of my chocolate portion. Our third apple that we're going to do is one that is covered in Smarties. Now these are a Canadian candy. Whenever I use Smarties, it stirs up debate. Yes, they are called Smarties, which are different than the American ones. These are candy covered chocolate bits. So I'm going to dip it in the chocolate just like I did before. So going in, rocking back and forth, and then letting it drop off. Now the Smarties do tend to kind of wander a little bit. So what I'm going to do is make sure I've got most of it off here. And you could even, if you're using something like M&Ms, or you could use Skittles or something like that with this candy if you don't have Smarties, you just want to make sure that the chocolate is slightly hardened before you start putting on the Smarties. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to start with probably red up here. And I'm going to go around and cover my candy apple entirely in my Smarties. So there you go, everybody, how to make gourmet caramel apples, and we made it with homemade caramel sauce. You can use the excess caramels into a parchment lined pan if you want to do that, and then you could slice it up and have little chunks of caramel as a special treat. Now for the caramel apples, you can also slice these up, take pieces off, or you can just eat it by holding the stick and, going to town on that. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial today. Leave me a comment below about which one is your favorite out of the gourmet apples. See you guys all again next time.